Welcome to Mindful Drawing. I'm Robert, and I'll be your guide on this meditative practice through the act of drawing. This week, I'm going to be working with pen, but with a little extra expression through some colored pencil or anything that can be a little softer, a little smoother, and change the contrast. The drawing we'll be working towards, since it's already happened, something here. Rocks in a waterbed, not a river, not movement, still, worn by time, slightly smooth, with little wobbles here and there to reflect their context. This exercise will utilize the hand quite a bit. It may put a lot of strain on those fine motor controls. Just go with it. That's part of the work. That's part of the practice of connecting our awareness of our motion, our hands, our eyes, with those muscles that give us this ability to draw. Some things may feel tight or frustrating, may be hard to draw some of the closer curves. That's okay, just let them take the shape they can with whatever you have to draw with. Follow along and know that you're practicing, you're building up resilience, you're building up technique, and you'll be able to draw more and more things the more you practice. If you do enjoy the practice, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up below, and check back every Wednesday for new episodes here on YouTube. As we prepare for the exercise, you just need a pad of paper, sketchbook, pen or pencil, whatever you'd like to draw with, and I'd like you to bring a little bit of an image to the mind of a still pool of water with some scattered rocks, some clumped together, some far apart. Breathe into that image for a second. Smell the water on the stone. Hear the gradual ripples, maybe some drips nearby, the breeze. And let that space anchor you as we go through this exercise, not as a representation, but just as a place of calm, a place of sensation, and potentially a place of creative exploration. Go ahead and gather your supplies, establish your space, and let's draw together. We'll start from the center out to look into this, and then work from the out to the center, as both will, I think, come into play. So just starting with a very small dot or circle, something that represents that inner center, and then out from that, a similar shape, kind of like a little bullseye starting to happen. And as we move out, each consecutive shape getting just a little closer than the last. So whatever that first spacing establishes, each one will get a little bit closer to the one before, gradually reducing the space between curves. As we work outwards, this may become more of a challenge. You have to slow down, practice in the space of the larger exercise. We're now just getting a sense of it. The last couple becoming very close, maybe wobbling into touching, that's okay. Trying to stay just outside until there's no more space to work, or it's too much to draw the next one. But as you can see, it begins to have a gradual fall off or curvature, and you can imagine this is looking down on the top of a sphere or a rock or something like that. And similarly, if we want to place another one of these nearby, rather than starting from the center, we could also start from the outer edge. Say 2 of these shapes touching. Begin with a large circle, and then each interior subsequent edge getting just a little further away. The first couple very, very close, very dense. And then gradually increasing. And since these are not spheres, they're just circles or circle-like shapes on a page, you can always play and modify it with how fast or slow that goes. And if they wobble, that's just the shape of the thing. And as an added little bit, we want to bring some three-dimensionalness to them. We can start at the center and give a gradual curve out, doing this around the perimeter a few times, and start to take on a little bit of that rounded shape, perhaps. Play with different amounts of those as we move along, just to give it a little depth or dimension, describing the form without the form. We'll do that a little bit more, playing with their proximity and looseness as we use this, what might become a very strenuous kind of exercise to the hand, drawing very tight and close, oscillating with the loose and more spread out. So on a fresh page, if you like, or just continuing again, we can reestablish a new starting point or center, a small circle that just marks out the territory. And the first ones will just be building from the warm-up. So just starting to notice how we're drawing, how it's working. If you're finding things smooth today, or a little bit of roughness in the drawing, whatever is there, just recognizing it. If it's nice and easy to draw the circle, we can lean into that with the smoothness of breath, or if the hand coordination struggle a little bit around, we can lean into that too and let it wobble a little more. If it looks like it wobbles on purpose, it'll feel less wobbly afterwards. And maybe we oscillate between the two states, clean, smooth curves, and gently wobbling ones to give character to these forms we're seeing here, looking down, perhaps at our feet in a pool with a few smooth rocks forming there. Now that we have one formed on the surface, establishing space, we can start to enter into our space, our own internal rhythm of the breath, just to bring some relaxation and smoothness. I think I'll start from the outside in, find a place, breathe in to establish, and on the exhalation, begin that new figure. The breath may end before you complete the cycle, and that's okay. Just let the breathing continue normally to come back around. And we'll continue that cycle as we work our way from out to in these gradually increasing increments, breathing in to establish, and out to start that journey around. Can you use the breath to bring more structure to your hand and to the motion? A little bit of deliberate practice in the forming of that curve. Breathing in at the beginning and out smoothly as a guide, finding speed that aligns there with your hand, with your breath, with that moment describing just a ring of an object. Few breaths around, the space becomes a little closer, the rings a little looser towards the center. We begin to calibrate our speed. And with that final one, slow around with the breath to keep it in the realm. You can continue to add from outside in, or even find new locations, establish new inside outs as we move along. Whether you oscillate far to near, near to far, go in sequential rhythms, you can follow along with the breath, breathing in to establish a new position and out to form. Connecting our motion with our internal space, that space of the breath, in filling up body and out, letting everything sink into its stable, relaxed position. A few catching up breaths in between, outside of our awareness, our attention being to the drawing, and that initial establishing and breathing in and out. The rings, again, can wobble. They don't need to be even. Drawing somewhat organic shapes. They become gently smooth at their edges, but have plenty of character. These are an exercise. Building connection between the hand and the eye, between the sensation of holding the pen or pencil and the small stabilizing muscles and nerves in the fingertips. And exercising and building awareness between the rhythms of our own cycles and breathing and their connection with output, motion, action with presence in the space. Slowing down to notice on that breath in to realign, moving with ease, gradually developing smoothness with that motion on the exhalation. With the repetition of the exercise, maybe a good opportunity to bring some attention to the hand, the way of holding the pen or pencil, the way of holding the wrist, just slightly off the paper if you can. That may make it more challenging to have smoothness, but over time that build up or just become the character of your drawing. You find a light grip on their pen or pencil, letting it move a little bit on its own, not holding too tight, releasing any urge to kind of force. And that may again introduce a little more wobble. That's okay. We can just bring that into our image here. Without a tool, like a compass to stabilize, most things in the world have a lot of wobble. An oscillation or dialogue between internal and external forces. The gradual moving of water up and down over through the resistance of stone. Each particle held together, gradually released. Gives everything that little bit of a wobbly edge, smooth. A representation of the physics at play, but shaped to the context. Perhaps on the next few of your figures, you can give them a little bit more shape, deviation, staying with the breath, breathing in to start a cycle and allowing that cycle to unfold with your natural rhythm of motion, but introducing just a little more movement to that cycle, a bump or crevasse here or there. Each one of the contours, just a moment, sedimentation, the holding of space of the medium there. We'll do a few more with this cycling of the breath, so give yourself that time to really bring attention to your breathing cycle and its connection to motion. You don't always have to follow the in, out, in to find location and out to draw. It can become more fluid, begin to play in that space, keeping our awareness on it, tracked to our action at hand. Maybe begin to speed up if the cycle can happen simultaneous to drawing in and out. Slow down with one breath or one cycle of breath per line, per curve. The thing I am noticing here may differ between all of us is I tend to start and stop each ring in about the same place. And again, it's something to notice, recognize, and perhaps extract from, beginning to bring a little intention and awareness to where that starting happens, shifting it around as I draw. Are there other things you notice? Consistency of shapes, and can you rotate them? Smudging, can you bring the hand disengaged from the page? Things that open up to us as we look closer into a space, spend some time there. Whenever you start the next form, engaging after this one, we'll shift our attention, if you like, to exploring contours in the other direction, bringing depth, but you may continue to just draw into this space as well. We'll also look at drawing into the space between the figures, extending their effect to the environment around them. I think I'll bring just a little time and attention to arcing out from that center down into the edge. A way of bringing a little bit of form in multiple directions. A little spiraling or wrapping, perhaps connecting features, dips, valleys, connecting tangents between different stones. Could wobble with the lines, wobble faster and slower, depending on the spacing. After you've created this space, just spending a few minutes with it, bringing more definition or depth, or bringing more density, whatever begins to call out to you. Just like the loose circles wobbling there, these extensions outwards bend, will shift, each one bringing a new perception of the form, the connection from center to perimeter, connection perhaps from top to bottom. Some may look flat, some may look more rounded, undulating, smooth, or rough. And with time, those perceptions can be guided as a technique, but here we can just let them form what they may between these shapes. A little bit of definition in space. If you've come to a conclusion with the marks, continuing to draw the larger figures, you can take the last 5 or 6 minutes to explore perhaps some of the spaces in between. Continue with whatever you're drawing with, pen or pencil. If you have something else nearby, you're welcome to switch, moving into a little phase of exploration for what we've made here, but perhaps continuing the technique that just offsets in the spaces between, perhaps little ripples at the edges, something around to explore, and a few minutes of quiet time to play here in the space of the drawing. Tension in the hands, those tight curvature offsets, constant forming and reforming can bring a lot of work to the fingers, to those fine motor skills. It's good to recognize them, give them a little attention, stretch them out a little, maybe wiggle them side to side, stretch them in and out, tightness, looseness, fluctuating between a little rolling of the wrists, just to feel every little nook and cranny there and give it a little support for all the support it brings to us to be able to draw, move the pen around with some degree of accuracy. A couple deep breaths to close the exercise, filling out the space, and just letting that time of creativity and relaxation wash out over you, wherever you may be. Well, I need to take a seat after that exercise, give the feet a rest from supporting me while I draw, but more importantly, just to integrate, to feel some of that relaxation that comes from taking half an hour to just explore, play with that awareness and connection, our mindful presence in an action, in this case an action of creativity, potentially of expression and exploration, a free territory for us to explore, open time and space for us to see what might come from our connection through a tool, to a medium, and our own imagination. I hope you've enjoyed the exercise, got a little relaxation out of it, maybe something interesting looking, a little creative inspiration, or perhaps just some squiggly lines on a paper that have released your breath, released your energy and motion out, opened up some new space inside for you to rebuild and enter out into the day. If you enjoyed the exercise, please share some comments below, let me know what you found in this practice, and give it a thumbs up if you liked it, hit the subscribe. We also do them live through Mindful Prat, and I stream them on Twitch at RooksIsFun. At any time throughout your day or evening, you can take a few moments, whether it's long form like this for 20 or 30 minutes, or maybe just 2 minutes between the space of a meeting to calm the mind by moving the hand aligned with the breath, moving the breath aligned with the hand, letting the eyes loosen and track, and seeing what emerges on a piece of paper there. This is RooksIsFun signing off. Draw well. Thank you.